We woke up to some absolutely horrible news coming out of Charlottesville, Virginia. In case you don't know, Charlottesville is where the University of Virginia is located, and today we found out that 3 college football players recently lost their lives in a shooting. This is an absolute tragedy and a terrible, terrible, terrible day for the college football world, especially for the Virginia Cavaliers football community. Virginia has had an extremely disappointing season, but wins and losses in the team's performance doesn't even begin to compare to what happened today, as 3 great humans and great football players lost their lives in a tragic way. And what makes matters worse is apparently right now the suspect is a former player from a couple years back. In today's video, I'm going to bring you up to speed with everything going on with this situation. We're going to talk about these players, and ultimately I'm also going to try to honor all 3 of these players by giving you their story and their impact they had on people around them in college football. I'm also going to leave a link for a GoFundMe page for the Virginia players' funeral, and I'm definitely going to donate to it, so be sure to click that link and let's help these people out. But before we get started with today's video, we're almost to 100K, so if you want to keep up to date with everything going on in college football, be sure to hit that subscribe button, leave a like if you want to support today's video, turn on post notifications so you never miss when I upload, and let me know what player, topic, team, or situation I can do next. Now, let's unfortunately talk about what's going on in Virginia. So, according to multiple articles, this morning, Virginia president identified 3 victims in a shooting that happened last night. The first one was linebacker Deshaun Perry, and the other 2 were both wide receivers, one of which was Lavelle Davis Jr., and the other was Devin Chandler. This is absolutely horrible, and apparently things could only get worse, as there are apparently 2 other hospitalized people who are also UVA football players. It does seem from what I've read that those 2 are going to be okay, but this has had a major ripple effect around the college football world and the campus in general. Classes were canceled for today, the shelter-in-place order was eventually lifted, and there's going to be a lot of police on campus today and for a while. The FBI also arrived, and I guess this happened early this morning / late last night. The suspect is currently a former Virginia football player, and his name was Christopher Darnell Jones Jr. He apparently hailed from Richmond, Virginia, and did have a troubled childhood, but was praised for overcoming everything. Because of that and his athletic abilities, he was able to get a spot on Virginia's football team, and he was listed on the roster in 2018, but never got an opportunity to play. Since then, I guess he has remained as a student there, but what happened last night is absolutely shocking, and we're going to need to wait to learn a lot more details about this. Apparently, 5 students were shot on a bus last night as a return from a field trip, and as I said earlier, all 5 of them were on the football team. 3 have been deceased, one's in critical condition, and one's in good condition. The shots were heard near a parking garage, and I'm sure this rocked the entire campus, and this is just honestly horrible. I still never understand how things can get so bad in your life that you want to go take someone else's, but I guess this is what happened last night, and I'm not going to speculate on anything that happened because I wasn't there and I'm not involved, but it's just terrible and it's absolutely uncalled for. There's absolutely no reason for any of this nonsense to be happening, and I just pray that the other 2 players in the hospital will be alright. So, who were the 3 players that ultimately lost their lives though? Be sure to click that GoFundMe link down below and support the families involved in this. So the first player I'm going to talk about is Lavelle Davis. He is someone I've actually followed for the last 2 seasons, as he is a great story and has become a really good player. Coming out of Woodland High School in Dorchester, South Carolina, Lavelle Davis was 6'7" and was going to be a steal as part of the 2020 class. He decided to commit to Virginia on June 1st of 2019 and was ranked as a 3-star recruit, the number 155th receiver, and the 1047th player in the class of 2020. He arrived at a school not known for producing wide receiver talent, but he would leave his mark as a true freshman. In 2020, led by quarterback Brennan Armstrong, he would catch 20 passes for 515 yards and 5 touchdowns. His longest catch was 90 yards, and he averaged nearly 26 yards per catch. He had one of the best freshman seasons in Virginia football history, and he could have been even better because he was stuck behind both Dontavian Wicks and Keaton Thompson. Unfortunately, going into 2021, he would not be able to play. He would have an injury and would have to sit out the remainder of the season. What's extremely tough about this is Virginia had one of the best offenses in the country as Brennan Armstrong led the ACC, and both Wicks and Thompson became 1,000-yard receivers, so Davis could have had an opportunity to break out on the national scene. He would recover and get better though, and now he would embrace his role as a leader in 2022. So far in the year, he's caught 16 passes for 371 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's still averaging over 23 yards per carry, and sadly, the Virginia offense has been putrid, so this has not helped his numbers, but he was still showing immense flash and potential. And with both Wicks and Thompson gone in 2023, that could have been Lavelle Davis's year to shine. In his 2 seasons with Virginia, he finished with 36 catches for 886 yards and 7 touchdowns, and it's just absolutely terrible that this happened. Lavelle Davis was probably going to get a chance to play in the NFL one day, and unfortunately his life was taken too early, and it just makes me sick. The next guy is D'Sean Perry, who hailed from the state of Florida. While in high school, he played both basketball and football, and he attended Gulliver Prep. In 2018, he finished with 89 tackles, 16 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, and 3 interceptions, as he led his team to an 8-4 record and was named the South Florida Conference's 2018 Defensive Player of the Year. He finished with 199 career tackles, 41 TFLs, 15 sacks, and went down as one of the best players in school history. He ended up getting an offer to play for Virginia, and he happily went from Miami to Charlottesville. According to 24/7 Sports, D'Sean Perry was a 3-star recruit, the number 54 weak side defensive end, and the 847th best player in the class of 2019. Unfortunately, Perry had not been able to make much of an impact at Virginia, but he did have his moments. In 2020, he would record one stat, but it went down as extremely memorable. He'd have an interception, which he took 84 yards back for a touchdown. That was by far the highlight of his career, as in 2022 so far, he's only had 7 tackles. So far, Lavelle Davis was one of the best young receivers in Virginia history. Perry had a very memorable moment, and now we got to get to the last player, and that is Devin Chandler. He played at both Arlington High School in Tennessee and William Amos Ho High School in North Carolina. In total, he'd catch 128 passes for 2,391 yards and 33 touchdowns. He also played defense and had 7 interceptions. He was an all-state Tennessee runner in the hurdles and was also an honor roll student. Chandler had a lot of athletic potential, which is why Wisconsin decided to go after him really hard. He'd end up committing to the Badgers and was ranked as the number 233rd receiver and the 1,704th best player in the class of 2020. Chandler would arrive at Wisconsin and would get an opportunity to play both receiver and return kicks. He didn't play in 2020 and would appear in 6 total games in 2021. He had 85 total return yards and also had 2 kicks, and also had 2 receptions for 28 yards in his career. Looking for a new opportunity, Chandler decided to enter his name into the transfer portal, and he decided to commit to first-year head coach Tony Elliott in Virginia. So far this year, he has yet to appear in a game, but Chandler had a lot of athletic potential and would have likely seen some time in the coming seasons as some of that depth above him would have cleared out. Overall, this is absolutely horrible news, and I am happy I could at least bring you guys their stories, and I will definitely be praying for them, and I'm very curious to see how the Virginia football team is going to respond, how people in college football are going to react, and ultimately, I'm excited to see the good that comes from this, as there will be a lot of honoring the players, opposing fans doing good things, and there will definitely be a legacy from these 3 guys. For now though, let's just pray for everyone involved. Let's hope these other 2 guys in the hospital are going to be okay. And ultimately, if Christopher Darnell Jones Jr. is the guy who did this, let's hope that he can turn his life around and learn from his past mistakes. Ultimately, this is an absolutely terrible story. And before you go, don't forget to drop down and click that GoFundMe and check out all my other videos on the end screen. I hope to see you guys again soon, but until next time, peace.